Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have the microphone once again because we just do. Anyways, in today's episode of the Exploring series, we're going to be checking out Windows SkyFoogle. Now, Windows SkyFoogle is a bootleg operating system which I have no information about. There's no Crusty Windows wiki article or anything, so we're actually going to be experiencing it for the first time, and I don't remember what this is, so we're going to be experiencing this again. Anyways, we're going to be creating a custom Windows thing, and we're going to be setting it to Windows 8 64-bit just in case, because I really do not know what this OS is. Anyways, after pasting in Windows SkyFoogle, you can't even find this on Google. So, well, yeah. It's pretty strange. We're gonna give this still 2 CPU cores, as I have no idea what this is, and 4 gigs of RAM. And we can finally find out what this is after putting in our ISO image. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we're gonna have to get out of the Windows 8 folder because we're not doing Windows 8. That was just okay. We're gonna go back here, go into bootlegs, and try out Windows SkyFoogle. Apparently it's a 64-bit operating system, so this was a good idea. Anyways, booting up the virtual machine, and we can now see what this is. So let's get started. I would try to go into the BIOS, but this isn't a beta build, so I don't have to change the date. Anyways, the computer is now appearing to set up, and it appears to be Windows XP. That's a good sign, as I can change some of the virtual machine settings. I decided to just remake the entire virtual machine through Windows XP, now that I know what the operating system is. Alright, so we are back, and I have recreated the virtual machine for Windows XP, reduced the RAM to 2 gigabytes, but it still has 2 CPU cores, so yeah. It should be normal-ish for Windows XP. I know it's 64-bit, so I can give it more than 4 gigs of RAM. It's just that it's really unusual for a Windows XP install to have more than 4 gigs of RAM, so I decided to just go with 2 gigs of RAM. Anyways, currently the setup just looks the same. It still looks like the Windows XP setup screen, and nothing has really changed up till then. Now, after setup loads more files, we might be able to see some changes, but for right now, it's the same, including the setup is starting Windows text at the bottom of the screen. So one of the first changes you can see is that it automatically jumped to the partition installation wizard. However, the text still says Windows XP Professional Setup. We're obviously going to be installing to the unpartitioned space, and we're going to format it using the NTFS file system quickly. And as you can see, now setup is formatting the partition to NTFS. And then it should begin copying files just like a normal Windows XP installation. So far, there's been no changes made at all except to skip the license agreement section. Now, I don't know when the major changes, if any, will be starting to show, but if I guess, I think it would be at the second phase of setup. So, let's come back to the second phase of setup and see what it does. As you can see right here, the boot screen has remained the same as we saw in Windows XP Professional 64-bit edition. However, once we boot here, we can see that we've got the old Windows XP text, which is kind of strange, but yeah. Anyways, the screen just froze on this for a while, and it didn't really change. The installation seems to be in the Windows 2000 style setup. As you can see right here, it is currently installing devices, and the screen looks very similar to in Windows 2000. So this ISO must have been modified using Nlight or any similar tool to get rid of the normal Windows XP setup and use this Windows XP setup instead. This is a bare bones Windows XP setup. Alright, so we have found something interesting while this installs. So I searched up Windows SkyFoogle, and well, this is what came up. We found this image on the Internet Archive. Now, I have a suspicion to believe that this ISO was just modified using Nlight or something. I'll leave a link to this in the description if you would like to check this out, because I mean, it might be interesting, but it seems that we just got normal Windows stuff, and it's literally just Windows, so I don't really know. Anyways, I'll be back when something interesting happens again, so yeah. Now, after spending an hour on the screen, it hasn't moved at all, and well, it doesn't really seem to be moving. I decided to restart the virtual machine just to see what on earth was happening, and well, we have the boot screen again. I don't know if I was supposed to restart, because, well, yeah, but yeah, let's see what happens. We once again have this, however, it's glitched out kind of, and well, the virtual machine is now lagging. So that's great. And the screen recording shows that we are recording at 60 FPS. However, the virtual machine doesn't really feel like it's running at 60 FPS. So that kind of sucks. Anyways, we are now on the Windows XP screen, and we are back here again. Now, I don't know if this is gonna hurry up or something, but we're gonna see what this does exactly. So, I'll be back, and if nothing interesting happens, then I guess this build is corrupted. So, we will find out. Alright, so it really hasn't been working. So, yeah, we tried and it didn't really work. So, that's gonna be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.